Hello, one and all. Good morning or afternoon, depends on what time you're getting up during this coronavirus outbreak. So we watched Tiger King last night, didn't we?
All of it.
All of it.
We went in thinking it was a movie. Turns out it was a show. Couldn't stop. Just watched all of it.
I thought it was going to be a 2-hour documentary.
Honestly, I was thinking like an hour and a half. I'm like, how much information can they have on the Tiger King? So we went into this knowing like zero about it. We didn't even know it was technically like some sort of like crime drama, or what's the word? Crime documentary. How do
Yeah.
they explain it on the Google?
On the Google. I don't know. I'm calling it a crime documentary because it's like really highlighting just all the illegal shit they did. All the shady shit they did. And you know what? Tigers weren't even a problem in the show, except for the one girl who lost her arm. Everyone, the problems weren't about the tiger so much as it was about
The people.
the
Well,
people.
and really, no one should privately own that many large cats. It's just, why? Why would you want that many large cats in your life? He even like
I would
went
totally
into
do
like
that.
detail of how much it cost him, like monthly.
But he must have been making enough money. I think that was the thing. So a lot of questionable.
Until the end, and
Oh.
then remember, like it all went to shit.
Yeah. I didn't like that they were tearing the babies away from the mothers like that early.
That's so sad.
By the way, there's nothing but spoilers in this, so just if you haven't seen it, just go watch it. Also, probably no one's listening or watching this. That's
no
fine.
one listens or cares. So
No. But this is our important morning discussion.
about
We're gonna pretend you're
the
not here.
Tiger King.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend you're not here. While I sip loudly.
That was a nice sip.
Thank you. Can you beat it?
No.
Go for it. Come on. That's important. You got to add that at the end. So Joe,
Joe.
Almighty Joe. So he's like the star, basically. I thought it was going to go evenly between him and the other big players, but no, just he's the main focus. He's
He's
nut
the guy
job.
who tried to kill
Carol.
Carol.
Oh, Carol.
Carol.
The
But
woman
she-
who
oh my
allegedly
God.
murdered her husband.
Just
allegedly.
like the world's biggest gold digger who allegedly killed her her dead husband. She has another. Okay, the thing that kept screwing me up, I was just like, who would marry her knowing she probably murdered her husband? Like she has a new husband who clearly has money of his own rights and never mentions it.
He's
but
not stupid either.
He's not stupid.
He doesn't seem stupid, except for his decision to marry her. But whatever.
But whatever, to each their own. If he's happy, I guess.
I'm just. She. Have you seen the memes online?
Yeah.
She
like,
definitely.
all the memes.
Just look at this woman. You know she fed her husband to a tiger.
Look at her. Look at the face. No one goes around wearing a faux flower crown, a plastic flower crown. Considers yourself, like, what do they say, the Mother Teresa of tigers? That's what she called herself.
I must have missed that.
I don't think she called herself that, but, like, I don't know. They referred to her like that. That's how she was, like, trying to paint herself, I guess.
But she was a tiger owner herself.
Yeah, that's the thing that, like, screws me
So what did
up.
she do so differently that she was slamming the
Well,
others
they don't breed and they don't do like cub petting. Like she's literally just like a sanctuary, but they're still in cages. They're just bigger
Well, they
cages.
have to be. You can't have a sanctuary without the cages. Not in North America, anyways.
So she like rescues tigers, I guess. She doesn't.
I guess. If anyone wants to know my thoughts on it, I would totally have a park like that.
You totally would. You're such a fucking shit.
I just wouldn't be that cruel to the animals. I understand like they want to make money and they want to keep the park going. But maybe you can get some government funding from foreign
Well,
governments.
that's how most zoos do it. A zoo is a government entity.
Is it?
I'm gonna Google this shit.
Okay, we're going to Google because we don't know what we're talking about.
We're not experts on anything.
We're just
so.
talking at the table drinking coffee. This is our normal conversation.
Zoo. Our zoos.
I don't think they are. I think they're privately owned. But for the sake of conservation and for the sake of getting the population up, I think it's a great idea to like breed them.
Okay, so this is the first thing that comes up on my Google search. A zoo is ultimately more focused on wildlife conservation than on its profit. Still, with 45% of zoos under private ownership, revenue is clearly a factor. Roughly 90% of total revenue for a zoo comes from gate fees.
A little bit of conflict of interest there, but you know what? It really is up to the people to help. I'm okay with breeding tigers in captivity if it gets the numbers up. At the end of the show, they were very, very clear that there's way more tigers in cages in the US than exist out in the wild. So if it were up to me, I'd release most of the tigers now into the wild.
So the Toronto Zoo is owned by the Toronto government.
Oh, it is?
Founded by Hughes A. Crothers, an industrialist who became the first chairman of the Metro Toronto Zoology Society in 1966. The zoo opened on August 15th, 1974.
Toronto owns it?
So Toronto technically owns it, and and it's
Very interesting.
interesting.
So I still don't see the zoo as a bad thing, though. Not if it's doing active work.
Well, they're trying to conserve animal species. Well, the Toronto Zoo is home to 5,000 animal species.
Yeah.
Oh, 5,000 animals representing over 500 species.
Joe had a point, and so did the other kings, that when people come and see and pet the tigers in person, or the animals, they develop like a fascination and a respect for them. And normally people want to help these animals not go extinct. They want them to thrive. It's just there's vast amounts of poaching. And of course, land is being taken and used for other purposes, and so they're losing habitat. I think they should let most of the tigers loose into the wild and keep some in the U.S. for breeding purposes. But since they're privately owned, that's really not up to
Well,
the
then
government.
now that they've been, especially the ones like you see in the movie where fly finally killed
You mean
it.
the show?
Yeah, sorry, the show. Most of them were hand raised. So these fuckers don't have any like instincts. Like they're still like a beast, like a wild animal. Like they could still rip your arm off. Clearly, a lady loses her arm, but they're not. I don't think they'd fare well in the wild. Do you?
That's not really our problem, though. You're like you give them the freedom, and you say, "Here's your freedom. Maybe you'll adapt. Maybe you won't. Maybe your cubs will adapt because they're born into it."
But then also, if you just dump, like, how many tigers did they say were like in captivity there's more tigers captive in the States, privately owned in the States,
there is
than
in the
there
wild.
are in the wild. So if you just dump that many tigers in the wild, like, you're gonna like completely disrupt the food chain. Like,
Oh,
there'll be no
that's
more
true.
food. Like, you can't just dump a ton of tigers in the wild. The natural repercussions of the food chain would be like astronomical. Like, I couldn't even be able to begin to predict that.
Well, I don't know how they operate preserves, like, open space preserves, no cages. But
Well, so preserves.
how much can you
So
control that?
Well, preserves, there's no fence. There's a border, but there's no fence. So animals wander in and out of the preserve.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, though, because there's like, it's designated land where there's no development. There's not a lot of people like traffic, like, except maybe on like a specific path. Generally, animals flock to those areas because they're non-disturbed. That's how it works.
Well, that'd be good. I don't know if you and me are ever going to see the extinction of tigers in our lifetime.
I hope not. That would be sad.
I'm going to assume no. But, it's a complicated issue. There's so many activists online because of this show that are demanding all these private zoos get shut down, and then I guess what would happen is you'd ship the cats overseas and release them.
Well, I don't
But I think
know.
we
That's
should
kind of what they want.
I'm pretty sure that's what they want.
They want them just to be all released into the wild. Like, that's
Yeah.
not... Okay, so, like, yet again, let's be
or
realistic.
preserve. Like, if it's a preserve, like, that's up to whoever runs that shit to...
How does something like the
Manage
Animal Wild Safari in Canada work? In Ontario.
Well, I don't think they're liable for any damage they cause to your car.
Or people.
I haven't gone, so I haven't even, like, seen a waiver, but I'm pretty
I
sure...
was there when I was a kid.
They would have to protect themselves.
I was there when I was a kid. I vaguely remember it. I was really little.
I vaguely remember it, too. I was also very little. I just remember monkeys.
I'm just confused.
I know they, like, hop on the cars, and you can bring your own car, or you can, like, rent one to use there.
Which is highly expensive, or there's the bus trams.
And sometimes the giraffes stick their heads in and stuff like that.
Well, if you feed them,
I'm
you're
hoping...
not supposed to.
I don't know if monkeys, like, jump in there and, like, start biting people or anything, but...
I don't know. Well, you're not supposed to feed the animals.
I trust the big cats more than I trust monkeys.
Monkeys are evil.
Yeah. They are. They are evil little fuckers, aren't they?
They really are.
I had a few run-ins with them in Thailand. Sometimes they're just jerking off, sitting on a fence in this little neighborhood area.
Or you get to watch, like, the male monkeys rape the females. Totally kosher.
Yeah.
Totally doesn't feel uncomfortable at all.
They just do their thing. And then, yeah, because you were there with me and Riley. You've seen them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they come at you. Like, if, you know, you've pissed them off in some bizarre way, they'll, like, jump at you and frighten you, and then...
Or even if you just walk up to them too fast.
Yeah, they're very, very touchy. I'm not saying
like,
tigers aren't touchy, but...
walking by yourself, like, if you're not in a group of people or someone else, that's when they start to, like, pick at you.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they're by themselves, and they start to, like, yell at you and charge you. They actually charge you. That's fucked.
Sometimes,
like, they actually, like, charge up to you, and you're just like, ah!
Creepy bastards. Going back to Joe, though,
That mullet, though.
That mullet is pretty glorious.
He
I
knew
must say.
what he was fucking doing when he made his, like, image. Or maybe he didn't, and that's just who he genuinely is. But if you want to talk about image, that guy had it figured out.
He's the personification of gay mullet man.
Gay mullet. The gay mullet redneck man. He's literally, like,
He's
gay
very
trailer
redneck.
trailer.
Trash?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gay
Trailer
trash that loves tigers. Well, he did love them, and then shit happened, and then
I was totally on
like
his side
at the
beginning.
beginning, it was just like I was like, oh my god, this guy loves tigers. He's trying to, like, he's got a foundation. He's, like, trying to save the tigers in the wild. Then, like, something happened, and, like, shit took a turn.
Well, his narcissism was, like, off the charts.
Oh, like, off the charts.
So if
like,
you can
could
imagine
not
trying to
be
work
more-
for somebody like that, it's insane.
No, I couldn't.
Neither could I. I'd be questioning everything.
Okay, so let's talk about all the other big, like, names. Like, they all had people pretty much, like, the one guy had, like, what, like,
He had a
ridiculous,
harem.
like, a ridiculous number of wives that were all pretty much, like, enslaved to him, that worked, like, 12-hour days every day. They all, like, wore, like, sexy outfits, like, whatever he told them to wear.
Yeah.
And their whole role was to, like, look sexy with the baby tigers and have sex with him.
So they were making him money and having sex with him, and they got to live there.
They didn't make money. They didn't make money. They were not paid.
Oh, so they were just paid for. Like, they could live there and they could be with the tigers, but really it's their whole life.
And be, like, his wife.
Like, how much free time did they actually have?
They got a house, but, like, no freedom. They had, because every day, even Christmas Day, they had to work.
Yeah. So he fancies himself a Saudi prince.
He's like he thinks himself, like a god, like the tiger god.
Well, he's. I can. You know
what
what?
was his name?
I don't know. I can't remember, but I can see it.
He's like the Dwight of tigers.
Yes, we determined he's got Dwight's personality, but he's
Totally
a tiger
Dwight.
owner. But what gets me is that someone like that, like, exists.
He's out
Or
there.
even the power trip, that the power trip exists from owning tigers or owning a lot of exotic animals. You actually start to feel like a prince and you start to like
do shit like that.
do shit like that and act, because none of them are fucking stable.
No.
None of those guys on the show anyways. There's probably
Even-
other wildlife
Even the woman,
places,
like they showed, she has like hundreds of volunteers helping her with her tiger, quote unquote, sanctuary.
fuck. That
Like, so
pisses me off.
none of them paid people. The main guy, Joe, he hired like criminals and convicts and like what's the word,
People
like
who are-
vagabonds, like,
People
you know,
who are downtrodden and
downtrodden
need something.
and need something. So
Because they'll
that's
work
how
harder
he.
for less.
So they all had a way of controlling these people in a sense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so fucked up. But everyone just loves tigers, so they were all like, "No, I get to play with the tigers." Like, they're so indoctrinated. It's so fucked up watching.
It is. It's a cult.
Oh, especially the one where like you're like his wife. Like it's a
One
it's
of
a
many
cult.
wives.
He like, it's a fucking cult. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the fuck?
On one hand, I'm like, that's fucked up. But on the other hand, I'm like, good job, dude. I mean, you're not a Saudi
no,
prince.
fuck you. It's not good.
No, I mean, like, he's not a Saudi prince, but he still got away with it. He still managed. He said, I'm going to marry a bunch of women I find beautiful. And somehow he achieved it.
And like, that's the thing. Like, he picked all of their clothes. He
Yeah.
controlled what they wore, how they did their makeup, how they acted. I'm like, what the fuck? And there's even the guy that they were interviewing about him, and he was just like, okay, yeah, you like you train these tigers, sure, but how do you train these women? It was just
It's like, where can I get 20 wives? Well, if you've got thousands of tigers, then yeah, we'll see.
it's fucked up.
He was like pulling a King Solomon. If anyone doesn't know about King Solomon from the Bible, here's a king that was blessed by God, but he was so blessed
Too blessed.
too blessed, he was able to afford, 700 wives?
700 wives. And the thing
And
was,
300
is that
and
people,
something concubines.
Yeah, but- and
he
people would
built a
just-
house for every single one of his wives.
Yeah, and people, if they had a beautiful, like guys, like people, if they had a beautiful daughter, they'd be like, no, let's just bring her to King Solomon because he'll take care of her. Like, it's just, but can you imagine having
we'll have good
700 wives? There's
relations
no
with
way
them.
you could sleep with all of them. Like, you'd run out of sperm, right? Like,
I don't know. What else does he have to do in his day?
I don't know.
How much king stuff does
Like,
he
you would have a
really have to
different
do?
wife for every day of the year and then extra.
Yeah. So I think you bang 2 of your wives a day and then 1 concubine. And I think you've got yourself covered.
Can you even jerk it 3 times a day? Like, that's just a lot. I think the most we've
I
ever had sex in
can.
one day was 4 times. And by number 4, you couldn't even. You're just like, no, I'm done.
I don't know. Back then, maybe he had more vigor. I don't know.
Like, you
Or
don't.
maybe he got-
Are you just admitting you're old and you don't have vigor? Is that what's happening?
No. But also maybe it's the access too. The access to that many different women. He's just like, well, because I got it, might as well use it. Or maybe he didn't touch any of them for like a week. Maybe he had like a bad week. And they would just sit in their rich little houses and do their own shit, whatever they wanted to do. I don't even think they needed to bear
Honestly-
him sons. I'm not even sure if any of them really bore him children. That's something I'll have to go back and try and read up.
I was going to say, I'm sure he would have had to have like hundreds of children. There's no way.
Accidentals.
There's no
So
way.
many accidentals.
Like 700 wives. Of course you're going to have children. But it's,
His dad had a problem too. But anyways, this is
We're
getting
totally
off
off
topic.
topic.
Talking about tigers. Tiger
and
Joe.
ligers.
Joe. Fucking Joe. Yeah, ligers. You know what? I'm a big fan of ligers. But you were telling me apparently ligers can't
So
procreate
I'm
with?
going to Google this, but I've heard that once you have
Look
a
it up.
liger, ligers don't, they don't,
Produce.
what's the word I want? They're not fertile. Okay, are ligers
Infertile?
fertile?
A lot of crazy.
As with ligers, the females are fertile, where the males are sterile.
So you have to mate them with either a lion or a tiger? Can't do it with another liger. That's a shame because, you know, if the number one big cat was a liger, you've created the ultimate species. But to be honest, I like tigers much more than I like lions. And I think a lot of people would feel the same. Because lions, they had that nice mane, the males. But the tigers got that beautiful orange-black stripe situation going on.
Or white and black if they're the...
I think they've always been associated with power. That's a point they made in the show. And I'm like, yes, I get it. They're so feminine, but so masculine. They're
So
beautiful.
powerful.
They're beautiful in like almost every way.
Well, every like big king in history or even in the Bible, like they have like lions, tigers, bears.
Oh my.
Oh my. They have these beasts at their ready.
The bears look cute half the time, but then I'm also very scared of bears because of how tall they can stand up. So say if you piss one up and he just decides to stand up, he's like twice your height.
Yeah, I
some
don't
of the-
get
some of the time.
I don't get the like he didn't just own tigers. Like the big focus was like tigers. He primarily had tigers, but he also had obviously lions, he had bears, he had like
Leopards and stuff.
like tons of different birds. He had leopards, he had like cougars, he had alligators that he burned. He allegedly burned his own studio, remember?
And the
alligators
alligators within, allegedly.
allegedly to burn all the footage because there was like incriminating footage. How fucked is that? Like think about that. And then the way they caught him in like hiring someone to kill what's her face?
Hey, listen, we've all thought about it at one point or another, but to actually go find
Like, just
somebody for
don't
$3,000.
Do it. For $3,000. Let's think
Apparently-
about that. That's like fucking chump change. I would
Apparently
not kill someone for $3,000.
Apparently it happens a lot where cops will pose as hitmen on like Craigslist or various places. Like they're
That's
allowed.
how they caught him, right?
Yeah. Well,
was-
the FBI was already onto him. And they're like, oh, we're going to just send one of our guys in to act as a hitman. And you're just going to introduce him and say, this guy will whack her for you. And he just jumped on that quick. But apparently there's a lot of like undercover people that'll just go and try and catch these people on the internet trying to hire hitmen. I'm
That's
like,
so sneaky. I like it.
well, it is. I don't think it's morally wrong.
I don't think it's wrong at all.
Because they wait until you actually give them money
yeah.
to do it. And
As soon as there's money exchange, they're like, we got you.
Yeah. And to me, that's okay.
Yeah, 100%. Kind of like
They are committing the act. You are entrapping them in a way.
I don't care.
But they're still doing it.
if you want to kill someone that bad, like, yeah, you should probably go to jail.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like when they entrap pedophiles. Like,
Oh, yeah.
agents pretend to be like kids, like little boys and girls or like young teens, and like scour the internet and like go to these sites where there's like known predator action and like entrap them. They like meet somewhere, and as soon as they like meet somewhere, it's like, oh, we got you.
You know what? I'm just thinking right now. That's like a dream job if you want to get girls. I take down pedophiles for a living. That's what I do. Like, girls would be all over you. They'd be like, he's like a true hero. A true hero.
Honestly, any man in uniform, that's how women look at them. Like firemen, like paramedics, police officers, like...
I think paramedics are being downplayed here. I know firemen are hot, but like, come on. Let's give it to
They
the
save lives every
paramedics.
day. Give it to the paramedics.
He'll like put his hand on your hand and be like, it's okay, ma'am, you're going to be okay, as he wheels you, and you just see him above you, his muscular chest.
That's
And
why
and he's looking
firefighters
forward,
are
and
like-
he's just like, I got you.
That's why firefighters are like such a big deal, because they'll just like pick you up out of a burning building, like all
like carry you
smoldering,
over their
like,
shoulder.
like sweaty, like maybe a little bit of like grime like smeared across their face, and like carry you out like a princess.
Oh, they could do that too. I could see them totally.
That's why women love them. It's just it's a fantasy. It's like, yes, save me. I'm the damsel.
It's okay to want to be that, ladies.
I'm okay with it. I'm
Yeah.
a strong, independent woman. I take care of myself. I don't need a man. I just like him. And
I just like it when they.
I just like him.
I just like it when they scoop me.
I still want to be saved. I'm still a little girl. I still want to be a princess.
And that's okay. That's A-okay. You
But
just
the
don't want to be in a harem with
Oh, fuck no. I
Whatever
want to
his
be the
name
one
is.
and only.
Joe. Well, no, Joe actually like went and brought someone else into like the relationship fully.
Oh my God, he got married to 2 guys at once. I didn't know you
Yeah.
could do that.
And they were in like pink suits.
They were in pink suits.
Like, this guy's crazy.
This guy's insane.
love
He
it.
like married 2, and then the one, and neither of them were gay.
Yes.
How did he manage that? How did he manage to convince 2 straight guys to marry him at once?
He's a master manipulator.
How?
I don't know. As a straight guy, I can't picture like
And then at the
doing
end,
gay shit in exchange for items and status or whatever the fuck
and
is
drugs
offered to me. Yeah.
and just whatever you want.
Like once you suck a dick,
Ugh.
you've sucked a dick. I just can't think about that.
They must have been like they had to be a little like bi-curious or something.
I think
That's
they
the
had to
only
be.
way.
They had to be a little bi.
Like a little bit. Like they were like a little more loose in that
Yeah,
respect.
they had to. have
Like
been.
you're so straight that it's not even funny. Like you wouldn't even consider even once.
Well, no, I think mostly guys are gross.
Yeah. Well, they are gross. Men are gross.
I can appreciate the male form, and I do. I just
Well, when you
can't.
see someone that's attractive, you do, whether you're physically attracted to them, you know and appreciate their beauty.
Exactly. But there's just no way I can get a boner from looking at a dude.
No, that's the thing, right? Could you imagine? Oh, ugh. And he's not like he's attractive.
He's really not.
There's nothing about him
He-
that's attractive.
he looks like a
He just
rat.
owns like hundreds of tigers.
He actually looks like a rat.
Yeah,
too.
like a wrinkly rat. Like he looks like a ball sack with a
Like,
mullet.
I can
Like-
I can imagine like Siegfried and Roy getting like
Yeah, I
other
could
people
totally see
involved
that.
in their marriage, and like that makes more sense to me than this guy.
This guy.
Maybe it's just the mullet.
It's I don't know. And the bangs, like
And
the
the
bang mullet.
nose.
I'm just like, and just everything. Let's just be real. He's just not attractive.
Yeah.
And then like his one husband left with a woman, and then his other husband killed himself, quote unquote, accidentally. Like I don't know how much of an accident that was.
Well, he was waving around.
was really
He was waving
suspicious.
around like a
And he was like
possibly
high
loaded
or
gun.
something. Yeah.
I guess he played with it too much, and he accidentally did it, or he finally decided, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna shoot myself." And he
Poor
goes,
guy was
and he goes and
depressed.
does it in the next room because it was established he was already depressed. He's already
So it's a question of whether or
Passed on.
not he meant to or not.
yeah.
Yeah, and then by the end he had another, like not even like, I think it was something ridiculous, like 4 months after his one husband died, he had someone else.
And he
And they got married so quick.
yeah, but the guy who died, his mother was at the wedding,
Yeah.
like
It's
with
so
him
messed up.
posing for pictures. It's all kinds of messed up. Yeah.
It's messed up.
That's why people watch these things. It's like, what's the channel? TLC?
TLC, yeah.
Is it TLC or TSC?
It's like my 600-pound life. It's like or Hoarders. It's like the train
It's
wreck you
hard
can't
to
look
look
away
away.
at. Like it's just like it's hard to watch, but at the same time, I'm like I can't look away.
Once you know these people exist, you're like, fuck. I feel so very fortunate.
Oh my god,
We live in a very clean apartment. Like we don't have much
We-
clutter at all.
we're minimalists and we're like
Well,
a little
yeah.
OCD clean.
I was raised by an Italian mother, so I have a standard for what clean is.
And my mom's
then-
personally known for her standard of being clean as like hospital sanitization. Like if it's not sanitary, like if it's literally not like been bleached, it's not clean enough.
So we're okay.
We got this. We
We're
got
not
this.
we're not hoarders. We're not 600 pounds, and none
No,
of us
we're
own.
average
tigers.
weight.
I would own one.
We're
tiger,
above
though.
average height. You would own one tiger.
Would you own one tiger?
No, I would. I'm probably allergic to the fucking thing, number one. And
Well,
number
yeah,
two, we
you're
can
allergic to
never
cats.
afford to feed the fucking thing.
We would have to use it to
Realistically?
get. We would have to actually run it as a business. That's the only
One
way it would work.
tiger.
One tiger.
How are you going to run one tiger as a business? The fucker's going to bite someone's head off and then we're going to go to jail.
Yeah, probably. But that's how you would do it. You'd bring him to like parties as a favor, have like rules. Of course, someone's going to break the rules, but Yeah, you would.
And
you
there's
would
no
have
way.
people
It's a
visit the
wild animal
tiger.
that's like, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds. You can't control the fucking thing.
Not forever. They've got this instinct, even in a playful way, of just clamping down on like
Like shoulders.
beside your shoulder. Yeah, where your neck meets your shoulder, just like getting in there and paralyzing.
Well,
you.
cats even do that with each other. Like if you watch two like house cats play, and okay, even if you think about your house cat when they're playing too rough with you, you get hurt.
Yeah. So when you think of a tiger playing rough at any point,
just no, we
I'm
would
thinking
never. I
about-
would never own a tiger.
You know what I'm thinking about?
What?
I'm thinking about them using their back feet. You know when they play, they put themselves on their
Yeah.
back and they go like this with their front claws, and then they put up their rear, their feet. They kick with their feet.
Yeah.
And each one of those feet has like
The hooks.
a huge hooked claw, and you're like, well, even if you went
Well,
like,
cats. That's how they.
even if you put like no effort into that, that could still cut through your abdomen. If
Well,
you're
the
not,
idea is that it rips open like the underbelly.
yeah.
Oh, that's all. I can't think about it. I
We're
get
just-
squeamish. I can't think about it.
We're just not as strong as them. I'm sure there's lots of guys who can play with them and it's fine. But it's just
But every time you do, you're taking your own life in your hands.
yeah, it's a risk. It's a risk.
Like call me like so this is where we do really differ
That's
as
okay.
people. Like we have a lot of similarities. But this is like one area we do severely differ is that you are totally fine with taking your life in your own hands and doing crazy, stupid things. And I respect that. And I let you do that. If you die, that's your business. Like I'll be devastated, but you made that choice.
Yes, I
Me, on the
did.
other hand, I will never take life chancing risks. If it's me or if it's doing something versus my life, I would rather my life. I'd rather stand back and let everyone else do something crazy. Like, I'm totally comfortable with that.
That's fine.
If everyone's jumping off a bridge, I'll be like,
Comfort
y'all
zone.
enjoy jumping off a bridge. I'll sit here. I'm not going to be that wet blanket that's going to say, no, don't jump off the bridge. You're going to kill yourself. I'm going to let you jump off the bridge, but I'm not going to jump off the bridge.
And that's okay.
Like, I would not play
okay.
with a fully grown tiger.
I
There's
would.
no amount of, like, I wouldn't. I'm not going to lie. If someone prevented me with a baby tiger cub, I would fucking hold it and pet it, even though I would have a massive allergic reaction. I would still pet the fucking
Which
thing.
is something I actually
Same
did
with
in
kittens.
I actually did that in Mexico. They had like this little shop thing in Playa del Carmen where they had some cubs in captivity and they let you look at them and touch them. But also, you know, they drugged the fuck out of the baby tiger, the little cub. Like it was so drugged. I tried hard to wake it up. Like I was like lifting it up and like rocking it
that's
a
so
little, like
sad.
giving it a little shake. Like the thing was like,
That's sad.
he is super drugged. The lion was not that drugged. The lion cub was like walking around freely, like it was no problem. But they severely drugged the baby tiger. Now, whether the baby tiger gives a shit or not, I don't know. He's just groggy. I'm sure he feels super groggy after, but
Poor guys.
yeah, it's a question of the treatment of animals. In Steve's perfect world, I'd have them all in a preserve, maybe with a giant Trump wall around the outside of the preserve all along. But that's, of course, a shit ton of money and a shit ton of effort. But you could control an ecosystem in there.
Yeah.
Almost. Like you can control most of the land animals in there. And
Well, you'd have to have your top of the food chain, and then you'd have the middle, and you'd have to be because it's closed off. You'd have to be continuously, unless you had enough like prey animals that they would breed, but you'd have to like have enough prey animals to sustain itself.
yes.
So it's like you don't want too many that the population gets out of hand and the apex predators can't keep up with maintaining that population, but you can't have too little where the apex predators kill off too many and then they don't have enough to
Yeah.
breed and sustain themselves. Like it's a balance.
It's almost simpler just to let the animals loose and see what happens in nature. Let it take its course. And a lot of people believe that, like, oh, if certain animals go extinct, then that's okay. Just let nature take its course.
Honestly though, like
But if
you
it's
know my
because of
opinion on
us-
certain animals that really by their own rights, whether or not humans interfered or not, should be extinct. I won't.
By this point. Oh,
I
I know
won't-
what you're talking
I
about.
won't say what animal here. And I won't
That's
say
for
which
another day.
animals I have opinions on. But I am very much what's the
You're not involved.
I'm not involved. But also like I believe a little bit in the chaos theory in the sense that not every species is going to survive. Like whether humans interfered or not.
Humans selected them for extinction.
No.
Jurassic Park.
Oh.
I'm just trying to do a Jeff Goldblum impression. I actually don't even try to do him. That's why I sound so bad. But it's pretty much the same thing. The Jurassic Park versus Ian Malcolm argument.
Yeah, pretty much like they went extinct. Like,
And then he
let it
brings them
be.
back and he's like, it's a good thing that I've done. And they're like,
No,
is it though?
no, it's not.
Even the
Nature selected them to die. Let them die.
Exactly.
Like, call me crazy, but like, I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but there's a handful of animals that I'm like, no, they've developed themselves into this corner.
Yeah,
This
not a
is-
human thing.
Like, yes, there's a lot of animals like tigers, lions, bears, caribou, buffalo. Like, all of those animals need like large expanses of land, and we take up too much land.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, no, we have interfered, and then poachers are a completely different issue. Like there's certain, like elephants, for example, giraffes are being poached every day. It's really devastating. But no, those aren't the animals I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. We're gonna move on from that.
All right. Actually, I think that's all I'm okay to talk about with, Lion King, Tiger King. Totally different.
Totally different movie.
Totally different viewing experience. Oh, man. Lion King was less drama than this shit.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, like because we went into it not knowing it was like a crime drama. Like, and we were high.
I thought it
so
was
like
just
as
a
soon as it was
reality.
like someone died, we were like, oh my god! Like we were
It
shocked.
just got more serious.
Like we thought it was literally going to be
I
like
don't think we're the only ones.
I don't know.
I think a lot of people were like totally shocked that it went as like crazy as
as
it
far
did.
as it like I couldn't like there were so many times we were both like this can't be real. Like we were googling it as we were watching it, going like, is this real? Is this happened? Like this happened.
Apparently so. And
And
there's an
apparently it all
ex-crime
happened.
boss that still owns like a bunch of tigers.
Yeah, that owns like the old zoo. Like he's building a new
He's like
zoo,
the guy
but
that
it's like
Scarface was based off of. And
Yeah.
he's just kicking around with his tigers. Like everything's fine. He got out after like, what was it? 12 years?
yeah.
He was supposed to be in there for life.
Welcome to the prison system, though. Oh, good behavior. You're supposed to be in here for 70 years. It's been 10. You can go.
Then I'm sure the judge was paid a lot of money. Just cash. He's like, here, bury this in your backyard. Whatever you want to do. But
Liquidate it somehow.
But just like bring the sentence down to like 12 years. Like let him serve like 2 or something. Here. Can you bring it down to 12?
How long was Joe put in jail for? By the end of it, I was so like tired and high.
I think he was not in there for life or anything either.
But he's
it was
still
just-
in jail, right?
Yeah, it was something small. Maybe it was like 10 to 20 years. You have to look it up. Either way, it's a lot of drama.
Exotic.
Very entertaining. I love that series, and I think a lot of people are going to be talking about it for a little while, especially activists, especially PETA. Anyways, I'm done talking about this. I think I'm going to get on with my day. What about you?
Yeah. So no, he's still in jail.
Cool. Do you know how long he's in for?
The series ends with Exotic sentenced to 22 years in prisons after being convicted of several crimes, including a murder for hire plot against Carol Baskin. If you're like many viewers, you may be left wondering, is Joe still in jail? The answer is yes. While we're often used to documentaries that are released years after the event that depict the final chapters of Joe Exotic's saga, as depicted in The Tiger King, actually occurred quite recently. Exotic was sentenced in 22 years in federal prison on
22.
January 22nd, 2020. Wow. So yeah, very recently.
Very recently.
So he's definitely in jail.
So these guys have been accumulating footage for a long time.
Well, because he was such a character,
Now
like
they get
people
the
started
payday.
developing. We're trying to develop into a kind of like the Duck Dynasty, but with tigers.
But is this going to be an ongoing series? Like, is there going to be a season 2 and 3?
No, because like he's in jail,
Yeah, but they could follow the other king.
like Carol. But I think like all the crime drama's over.
The crime drama, maybe.
Well, maybe in another 10 years, the guy who took over Joe Exotic's park and the other fat guy, the businessman.
Plus, you got to wonder, after the release of this show, are any of the Tiger Kings going to let people film them?
I don't know.
Because they did not paint them in a flattering light.
They definitely didn't.
At first, they kind of did, and then they just kind of destroyed that. Anyways, I'm done my coffee. Are you done your coffee?
I'm done.
All right, let's figure out the rest of our day. Anyways, thanks for listening, nobody, and
Yes, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for not caring.
next time. Bye.
Bye.